Hey, hi, how are you? Excuse me. Just choking on a peanut M&M. Welcome back to Nails by Sora. This is my right hand, this is my left hand, and this hand is already done. And we are getting into my own manicures for Valentine's Day. I gotta say, this kind of doesn't feel like my hand because I see designs like this all the time with multicolored French manicures, and it never really felt like something that I would do on my own hand, but I'm loving it, and I'm going to show you how I got it. So it's going to be a dip manicure because, as I've said in previous videos, I'm trying to really use the products that I already have, which are predominantly dips. And as they are predominantly Sparkling Co. From subscriptions, I want to make sure that I used colors that I know are available on the site. So I believe that Jelly Sandals was made a permanent color. I'm going to use Crystal Clear to go over it, and I'm also going to be using Azure Beauty color in 36. This is part of a Christmas collection that I got, but I believe it's still available. It should be. And it's a beautiful burgundy red with some red sparkles in it, which really actually don't show up on the nail for some reason. But I love the contrast of the red with the Jelly Sandals. So I will show you how to do a dip French. So we're going to start off with dip liquids. We're going to transition into finishing off with gel liquids, and also using gel polish for some fun artwork. But first and foremost, I'm going to pour off some of Jelly Sandals into my cupcake liner so that I have room to dip into the jar. And then I'm going to take my Azure Beauty base coat and dip as usual. And I will go into the process on the first two nails, and then I'm going to speed it up, and you can just watch me rinse and repeat. So always starting up from the cuticle line and pushing towards it, because that's the easiest way not to flood the cuticle. And you just want to make sure that you coat evenly across the nail. You can, of course, dip back in. My thumbnail is, as most people's are, larger than the rest of my fingers, or the nails on my fingers. So I traditionally need to dip in more than once to get enough liquid on my nail. And this also makes sure that it's fresh and it doesn't have a chance to dry before I get a chance to dip. So I'm going to dip twice through with Jelly Sandals on each hand before I go into creating the French portion. This is a water marbling tool. I will link it in the description box below. And that's just to clean up around the cuticle to make sure that there's no lifting once the manicure starts to grow out. So once again, with the brush, I am dragging it against the inside of the bottleneck on one side, and then I'm pushing towards the cuticle with the liquid. Now I'm going to brush off my nails with a stiff scrubby brush. I'm not going to dig into it. I just want to make sure that I have a stiff bristled brush to get most of the excess off. under the nails, over the nails, and then we can go into the second coat. I do want to take this time to thank everybody who subscribed for returning, and ask anybody who is a returning viewer who has not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? You've seen multiple videos now, you keep coming back for more, just subscribe already. You can always change your mind. I see it every day. Just today I had 237 subscribers, and then all of a sudden it was back down to 235 and left me shouting, where did you go? Why did you go? Come back. But yeah, so please subscribe. It really does help out my channel. I would love to have you. There's room for everybody. No pushing and shoving. Everybody's really nice. And I would just love to have you. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you always know when there's new videos, and we can continue to increase our family. Yeah, so moving on to the second coat, same process as before, dipping in. If you notice it's starting to get wet again, you can dip in once again, or you could always just pour over, whichever way works for you. And then just cleaning up that cuticle line to make sure that there's no flooding. Once this is done, we're going to wait 2 minutes for the nails to completely dry. Then we're going to brush off again and go on to the French manicure portion. Okay, so we're moving on to the French manicure portion. Now this one takes a little bit of care because you don't want to contaminate your clear. It is going to get contaminated somewhat so, but hopefully not all that much. So I don't know if you can see, I do have a little bit of red in here, but once I stir it up, it should mix in and hopefully not cause too many problems. But I'm going to keep it away from the red, and we're going to go in and create the smile line, and then we're going to tap off as much of the red as possible and then pour over the clear so that we have an even layer between the tip and the base of the nail. So just as before, you're going to take some dip liquid and cover the whole nail. And then depending upon the shape of the smile line that you want, you're going to push your finger in at a specific angle. So the deeper a smile line you want, the sharper the angle you'll need. You make sure I get my edges. So I'm going to go in at a sharp angle because I want a really deep smile line. If you want a straight smile line, you want to go straight down and varying angles in between. Wiggle it towards the far side. Tap and look at it. It's a little too shallow on the other side, so I'm going to go back in. Tap it off and then pour over with the clear. once again going in with the cuticle, the water marbling tool to clean up the cuticle, and then moving on to the next nail. I'm gonna settle it down so that it's even. And same thing, you want to coat the whole nail. Remove all the cat hairs. Then you want to try to get overhead so that you can see both sides of your cuticle, of your finger, so that you can judge the smile line. And then pour over with the clear. So speaking of cats and cat hair, I know you asked, I could hear you. I've got 2 cats. I introduced them in my nail room tour video. And today I picked up, or I ordered on Amazon, one of these pet hair scrapers. It's got a fine comb on one side, and you use it to scrape the carpet and the couch, and it pulls up all the hair. And when I tell you, I removed the equivalent of a 3rd cat, it was unbelievably ridiculous how much cat hair was embedded in my carpet. So I'm kind of considering getting a long-handled broom one, because this one's just a short one that you're supposed to use on couches and furniture. But it really worked so well. And it was quite disturbing, if I'm being honest. Kind of feel like I got some red dust on the center of the nail, but there's nothing I can do about it at this point in time. All right, so again, brush off the excess powder after 2 minutes. I definitely have some powder, some red powder in there, so I'm going to try to file it down later when I reshape the nail. Shouldn't have to do too much profile adjusting because the powder came out, the line is very nice. and there's not really any ridging. I'm gonna take down the profile a little bit down towards the cuticle. Usually on my pinky I get a ridge. I'm not exactly sure why, but all the other nails look really good. I am going to go in and do a second layer of the red, but not the clear. So to do that, what you want to do is just go over the smile line. And the only reason why I'm doing this is because since the base color is the transparent jelly, you can kind of see through the nail. I don't know if you can see from this angle, probably not, but when I hold my nails up to the light, I can see light shining through, and I want the opacity to be a little bit greater with this red. So I'm just going to paint the tip, and I'm going to go back in and match up the smile line. Although it's not really going to make much difference because it's only going to stick to the area where I put the dip liquid. Okay, actually before I activate, I'm going to go in and try to remove some of this red because it'll be easier to remove it before it's all set. I'm just lightly brushing the 180 grit side of the file against the pink. Now I'm going to activate. Now I kind of did my left hand backwards. I was originally going to go in with, trying to remember what I did. I think I activated the jelly coat before I went in and did the red French. I'm not exactly sure why. I think I wasn't sure at first if I was going to do it in dip or in gel. But I also had to go in and do multiple layers of gel base because I wanted to make sure I didn't have a ridge line, so I used some build gel to make sure that the layer was even. But then I wiped the inhibition layer so I could go in and put in the accent line because I didn't want it to bleed. But then because I wiped the inhibition layer, I had to go back in with I think I did matte top coat afterwards so that I would have a rough surface to put the gel top coat on top of. So it was really weird and backwards, and going to try to avoid all those steps. So right now I've just got my activator on. I'm gonna let it sit and marinate for 3 minutes, and then I'm going to lightly buff the surface, excuse me, to get rid of this ridge line and to make sure that the powder is smooth. Take down this this ridge down by the cuticle on my pinky, and then we're going to go into finishing with gel and the accent design. All right, so tapping on the nails, they are clicking. I am shaking the camera, which means that they are ready to be shaped and filed and shaped. So as I said, I'm just going to go in and lightly redefine the shape of the nail, and I'm going to use the softer 180 grit side just to lightly rough up, well, not rough up the surface, but kind of smooth out the surface and make sure that there's little to no ridge between the smile line and the base of the nail, or the apex of the nail rather. Okay, so point of note, I want to let you make sure you know that if you're going to finish with a dip process, which means you're going to activate again and then dip top coat, you want to make sure that you buff your nails smooth. Dip top coat likes a smooth surface. Gel top coat likes a rough surface. So you don't want to use the buffer too much if you're going to be using gel products, because it's going to inhibit the gel top coat from really adhering and creating a bond between the product and the top coat. With dip top coat, the reason why you want to use the buffer is because dip top coat is a lot more thin than gel top coat, and it shows not every imperfection, but you might see the lines of the file underneath the top coat. So buff for a dip top coat, file for gel top coat. End of PSA. Now I'm going to take some alcohol. I'm going to cleanse the nail from all the filing dust. As I said, if I was going to continue on with gel, at this point I would use activator again, but it's not necessary for the purposes of this manicure. So like I said, last time I went in with the DGel, but I'm actually going to see what happens if I do the design on top of the buffed or the filed surface. So I'm going to coat my long liner. Ordinarily I would use gel paint because it's thicker and it's less likely to run, but this red is more of an orange red and it would stand out too much against the red of the dip powder versus Sunset in Florida, which is a blue red, which more closely resembles the dip powder. So I just want to accent the smile line and bring it down a little bit further into the free edge. So I'm going to do half the nail on one side and come back around and join it up on the other. This step is, of course, completely optional. This is just what I wanted to do. I'm shaking. All right, now I'm going to use my Sidewinder. I'm going to keep the bulb away from the gel on the palette, and I'm just going to flash cure this so that it doesn't move. Don't move. And now I'm going to go onto the next nail. I don't like doing my opposite hand. That's not gonna work. All right, so if you get it on your skin, just take a brush and a little bit of acetone or alcohol, and you can just wipe it away. And then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go in and clean up the line a little bit. And then I'm going to cure or flash cure these nails. So question for y'all. Are any of you watching the new show, The Last of Us with Pedro Pascal? I've been a fan of his for a while now, and while I never played the video game and wasn't even aware that there was such a video game, I became interested in watching it because he's in it, despite the fact that it has to do with the end of society and a pandemic, and why would I watch something that has to do with what we're living right now? But you know, why not revel in the misery of the human race? But just wondering if anybody else is watching it, what you think of it, if you're enjoying it, if you're aware of it but avoiding it because it's a little bit too close to what's going on. Be interested to hear your thoughts while I completely butcher this nail. Okay, now I'm gonna put my hand in the lamp for a full 60-second cure. On to the heart, shall we? For this, you need a dotting tool, and you're going to do 2 dots next to each other. Then you're going to take either a long liner or a short liner, whichever one you prefer, and you're just going to connect the edges of the circles to create the heart. Just trying to get this little spot over here. Of course it's off center, but then again, so is that one. So at least they match. Going in with the thumb, same thing. 2 dots. And then connecting them. All right, so now we're going to go and finish off the nails, all of them. So I'm going to take my builder gel and I'm going to go in and just do a nice even layer. At this point, we're not building up an apex or anything. We're just using a thicker base gel so that we have a smooth surface for the top coat. Now I will say, which is something that I didn't think of until I was doing it before, that generally speaking, or usually, clear dip powders do not work well with gel. So if you're going to do an overlay of clear dip powder, you want to really finish with dip liquids. That being said, I haven't really had an issue with Sparkling Co's clear. The main issue that people generally have is that when using clear dip powder with gel top coat, it tends to cloud over for whatever reason. The particles that are in the clear dip powder don't work well with gel liquids. But like I said, I haven't had any problems with Sparkling Co's clear dip, and I haven't had any problems with West Coast dips. So you'll have to just find what works best for you. All right, I'm going to finish off base coating and top coating my nails, and then I will be back to wrap up. Well, since I don't have a Valentine this year, I guess my nails will just have to be my fuzzy Valentine because I am in love with them. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a bit, not really long, but a little in depth. A few different things going on this time, but I had fun doing it. I had fun recording it. I hope you had fun watching it. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below, as always. Any suggestions for upcoming videos? Yeah, I'd love to hear it all. Thank you again so much for watching. Please give me a like and a subscribe and hit that notification bell. And I will see you in the next video.